Welcome back to the latest Let's Go G show presented by the UNCG Alumni Association. This week is all about women's soccer. Later on the show, you'll hear from their head coach, Michael Coll, and you'll hear about the challenging story of one of his players. Before that, though, let's take a look at how volleyball and men's soccer have been. The volleyball team sits on a 5-3 SoCon record with wins over Furman, Samford, and Chattanooga. The last few victories brought the Spartans to a tie with Wofford for second place. Earlier this season, UNCG beat Wofford at Spartanburg in 3 sets. Round 2 is at home this Friday at 5 p.m. The men's soccer team is tied with Mercer for second in the league. Both teams have 4-2 records and are just 1 point away from the top spot. Anything is up for grabs with just 4 games left in the season. The standings are important because the top 2 teams get a bye in the SoCon Tournament. Regardless, it's going to be a wild finish to regular season. Fortunately, UNCG is hosting the semifinals and the championship game. So, if we place in first or second, we don't have to go to the quarterfinals, and the remaining games will be played at home in Greensboro. This is not just an advantage for UNCG, it's also a huge disadvantage for the other teams. UNCG has only lost 2 games over the past 2 seasons while playing at home, so they're definitely comfortable on UNCG turf. This is, of course, for league games only. But that is not the case with other teams in the SoCon. Every team in the SoCon other than VMI plays significantly worse away than they do at home. ETSU and Mercer are both 3-0 at home, but respectively 1-1-1 and 1-2 away. So having to come to Greensboro for the tournament is a huge disadvantage, especially for those top teams. The moral of the story, UNCG needs to finish first or second in the regular season in order to earn a bye and then play the remaining games at home. All of that is a little bit down the road though. Coming up tonight, UNCG faces Furman in Greenville, South Carolina. You may remember how things went last time. Tonight is also sure to be a feisty battle. When we get back, Melissa Canizales gives us insight into her challenging road, and Michael Coll joins us on the show.
Add big flavor to your next get-together with Subway Catering, featuring good-to-go boxed meals with a side and freshly baked cookie, crowd-pleasing giant subs, and piled-high sandwich platters overflowing with flavorific choices. All made the way you say with everything you love, like jalapenos and Chipotle Southwest sauce. Subway Catering is simple and satisfying, a great value for any budget. Just call 877-360-CATER or visit Subway.com and let us take care of any occasion. Subway, cater fresh.
Hi, I'm Barbara Corcoran. To sell your home on time for the most money, you need a sharp agent with a marketing strategy that creates the most demand. Bottom line, you need a partner willing to put their own money on the line for you. In Greensboro and Winston-Salem, it would be Jason Bramblett. He attracts hundreds of buyers and creates so much demand that Jason can guarantee if your home doesn't sell at a price and deadline you agree to, he will buy it. Partner with the agent I trust. Go online or call and get your home sold.
They actually thought I wasn't going to play again. They were like, you're done. Like, I had concussion for a month. I have swelling in my neck and my back sprained.
That's what the doctors told Melissa Canizales just after a corner kick collision in 2014 while playing at New Mexico State University.
I saw it and I went up for it and I headed it out, but as I went up in the air, one girl came in this way and my teammate came in this way. And basically they smushed me in between them and my neck and back spazzed out and snapped. And I fell to the ground and then I tried to get up, but then I got the rush of everything and then I fell back down to the ground. My hands went numb, my body went numb, I couldn't feel anything. I just wanted my parents. That's the first thing that went through my head I was thinking of my parents immediately. I was just like, where's my mom, where's my dad? That's the first thing that went through my mind immediately.
She was then medevaced from Las Cruces, New Mexico, to El Paso, Texas.
It was very scary. I was kind of in and out of consciousness constantly. And then next thing I know, I'm in a hospital bed with a neck brace on. I did MRI, CTs, everything possible for 4 or 5 hours.
It didn't take long for her mom, Mercedes, to make the 14-hour drive from her hometown in Las Vegas to be by her daughter's side in El Paso. The rehab would be a completely different story.
I'd wake up about 7 a.m. I'd get dressed. Sometimes at the beginning, my mom stayed with me, so she would help me get dressed because I couldn't move. My body was really sore. My roommates, who were my teammates as well, would help me get dressed.
Eventually, Canizales made a return to the field, but it was halfway across the country in Greensboro, North Carolina. After her junior season with the Spartans, the crafty midfielder received an unexpected call to try out for the women's national team of her parents' native country, El Salvador. Even though Canizales has been born and raised in the United States, El Salvador has always been her home.
For anyone who's Spanish, like, your culture's everything. Like, you're so proud of where you're from. Like, it's everything to you.
So when Canizales learned she made the national team, it was a monumental moment for her family, especially her dad, Danilo, a former soccer player himself, who instilled the passion he had for the game to his daughter.
I have the most immense love for my dad in the world. Anyone who knows me, I will always tell him, like, my dad's my best friend in the whole wide world. And for me to go back to my country and put my dad's last name on my back and represent my family is the greatest thing ever.
That love made Melissa's phone call home with the news of making the national team incredibly special.
Dad, I have some great news for you. He's like, what? And I was like, I made the national team. And he was just like, he stayed quiet for a second. And he starts like doing this like weird screaming thing. And he's like, yes, I'm so proud of you. See, I knew you could do it. And just goes on a whole rampage of like, I love you, I'm so proud of you. And it was awesome because my dad is just an amazing person. So I love whenever he's happy.
Melissa will have a chance to make her dad proud once again early next year when the El Salvador women's national team takes part in qualification for the 2018 CONCACAF Women's Championship, which is the first step towards participation in the Women's World Cup in 2019.
It's insane. It's something when you're a kid you always like dream of, and then when it's in front of you, it's like hard to believe.
Welcome on the show, Coach Coll. It's great to have you here. We just saw a feature about Melissa and the incredible journey she's been through. When you see a player like that with so much resilience, what does she remind you of?
You know, she's a born winner, so it's tough to really say if she's exactly like someone else, but she reminds me what it's like to be around people who will never give up and never be beaten.
And you see her strength when she comes off of such a scary injury. How does that translate when she's in the field, when she's playing, when she's with her teammates?
It's interesting because a lot of players will be less physical when they come off an injury like that, but she's actually surprisingly more physical. Mm-hmm. It's almost like she's just it's such a privilege for her to be back on the field that she gives it 120% in every tackle.
You guys are way over halfway through your season. You're coming off a heartbreaking loss against Mercer over the weekend. How do you get your team back in line after something like that?
Well, we played well, and we are extremely young, like everyone knows. But the fact that we took a team that's pretty dominant at home to overtime with such a very young team, there's not a lot of change. There's not really much we have to change at all. Mostly just showing them that they actually competed extremely well against a very tough team on the road.
You talk about a younger team, and a lot of the difficulty with the younger team is just getting everyone to know each other well enough to play well with each other and to be able to kind of figure out where the next player is going to go, which is just experience. So it seems like your team has clicked. When did that start to change?
I believe the Furman match was a huge game for them to really get big time confidence. And you know, generally I say that it takes 4 to 5 games in a season for any team to click, and for our younger players it probably took a little bit longer. I believe that the start of the conference was when they really decided to bring their A game to the fore.
Some of the veterans are a little bit better with dealing with pressure. So when you have people like Melissa or other seniors providing leadership, and you have a couple games left in this season, and these are really going to determine how the standings in the SoCon stack up, what are you getting from these older players to kind of help the younger players deal with that pressure?
Well, it is the experience. They've been through it, you know, a number of times before, at least one time before for the sophomores. So their experience and what they can share with the younger players as far as the lead up to the win or go home game, which is the conference tournament game, that experience is going to hopefully prepare our younger players for that battle, which is exactly what it's going to be.
Looking forward to Friday. Friday is your first ESPN3 broadcast, which is pretty exciting in itself, but it's also, you're facing Samford. What specific challenges does Samford pose to you, and what are you focusing on in practice to counteract those?
Well, as per usual, they've got a very solid winning record, and they're a senior-laden team. They even have an international player who just played in the Olympic Games for South Africa on their team. So their experience is going to be as top level as anyone we've played this year.
What is the difference between a team like them and like Mercer?
There's not really a difference beyond the fact that Samford, they carry themselves with this sort of awe of we are number one and we are going to be very difficult.
Hopefully we'll have a good turnout of fans and we can kind of maybe stomp that out a little
Absolutely,
bit.
hopefully.
Best of luck this weekend, Coach Coll. Once again, Michael Coll. I'm Meg Sloggett. Thanks for watching the show.